Hey, my name is Lamar Archer, and we're here at JTech, and today I'll be showing you how to do a valve adjustment here on this Cat 7. Alright, so before we get started, just going over the tools we're going to use. We're going to need a pry bar, set of Allen keys, or if you have it, a T-handle, 5/8 wrench, set of feeler gauges, torque wrench, and the proper size socket, which is a 5/8. So, first thing you're going to do is use your pry bar, and you're going to bar over the engine. It means you're basically just turning it counterclockwise until you get the first cylinder on top dead center. As you're turning it, you'll know you're in top dead center by caging the flywheel. You do that coming over this side. And behind the flywheel, there's a bolt hole for a 5mm bolt. You just want to slide it through, and as you're turning the flywheel, it'll go in. So you can see it from this side since it's out of the vehicle, but the bolt basically locks the flywheel in place as you're doing your adjustment. Alright? So, once you're in top dead center, you can confirm this by checking your rocker arms. They should be loose for number 1, and they should be loose for number 6, which they are. So, we're going to use our wrench, and we're going to break loose these jam nuts on the exhaust valve and on the intake valve. Flip that around. Alright, once those are loose, we'll use our feeler gauge to put them to the right spec. So for the exhaust side, the measurement should be 0.03. We're just going to place that between the rocker arm and the spring. And using our Allen key, we're going to loosen the rocker arm, because what you want is you want to have a slight bit of tension on the feeler gauge. So it shouldn't be too loose like this, and it shouldn't be too tight where it's locked in place. You just want it just enough tension to where it's dragging on the feeler gauge, which is right about there. So keep that in place. Without turning our T-handle, we'll just use our wrench and we'll tighten down the jam nut to hold it in place. Alright, and just check again with your feeler gauge. Still the right amount of pressure. Alright, and then we move to the intake rocker arm. We just want to place the feeler gauge, which this time is a 0.015 between the rocker arm and the springs. We might have to loosen this a little bit. Alright. So, rocker arm in between the spring and the arm, or feeler gauge rather. And you just want to adjust it so it's just enough pressure where it's dragging on the feeler gauge. Once that feels good, right about there, just tighten down our jam nut on the back side once more. And make sure you don't turn the T-handle as you do this, because it'll throw off your position. Make sure that's good and snug. Alright. And check again. Still the right amount of tension. Alright. So, the order for adjusting the valves is the firing order. First you do exhaust and intake for 1. Then you're going to do intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. Then we'll just go back to the front of the engine. You're going to bar it over 360 degrees, lock it back in place with your nut, or bolt rather, and start on cylinder 6. And you're going to do exhaust and intake. And you're going to go back the other way, doing intake, exhaust, intake, exhaust. And that'll adjust all of your valves. And from there, we torque down the jam nuts, because they'll all be retightened down. Torque them down to spec using our torque wrench. And the specs for that should be 22 plus or minus 5 foot-pounds. So go onto our jam nut. And you want to do this very carefully so you don't mess up torque. And there we go. So we'll do that down the entire arm. They're all spec. And that is how you do a valve adjustment for a Cat C7. Thanks for watching.